Assalamualaikum and very good morning. My name is Noira binti Arman from 5am3. So today I'm going to present some topic from landing gear subjects. So let's get started. So the function of a landing gear is to support the static load on an aircraft on ground or water during maneuver or in static condition. Second, to provide a means of ground maneuver or taxiing. Third, to absorb the landing shock. Fourth, to dampen the vibration. Fifth, to facilitate aircraft for takeoff and landing. So the last one is to providing the aircraft the braking and steering function. So there are three basic types of landing gear that apply to the surface, which is water, hard or earthen, and snow or the ice surfaces. So each surfaces require a different type of configuration of landing gear. So the first one is fixed or rigid type of landing gear. So the second one is retractable landing gear. So I will explain to you what is fixed or rigid landing gear. So fixed or rigid landing gear is for aircraft that are not practical to be retracted, are more suitable to use rigid or fixed type of landing gear. So it is usually equipped with cowling or fairing known as spot, speed fairing, and wheel pan. So if you guys can see, this is the fixed or rigid landing gear. So I will show you what is the difference between wheel fairing and wheel pan. So this is wheel fairing, this is wheel pan. So next, I will explain to you what is retractable landing gear. So retractable landing gear is to minimizing the amount of parasitic drag by means of retracting the landing gear to its designated compartment known as landing gear compartment or wheel well area. So the advantages of retractable landing gear is contribute to more better and improved aircraft performance. So there are four arrangements of landing gear, which is 1. Single type landing gear. 2nd, double type landing gear. 3rd, tandem type landing gear, which is parallel to each other. And 4th, multiply or boogie type landing gear. So this is a single type landing gear. This is the double type landing gear. This is the tandem type landing gear, which is parallel. Okay, so the last one is boogie type landing gear. Let me explain what is the multiply boogie truck landing gear. So the number of wheels determined by the gross design weight of aircraft and the surface on which the loaded aircraft may require performing landing. So there are some advantages of multiply wheel type of landing gear, which is multiply wheel spread the aircraft weight over a larger area of load distribution. So the second one, providing safety margin in the case of one of the tire bursts during takeoff or landing. So the third one is extra braking effort or efficiency of braking is accomplished by the number of brake units attached in each wheel. So the disadvantages of multiply wheel type landing gear is 1. More moving part and therefore require greater amount of maintenance. The second one, tires tend to strap during turning maneuver. So the third, larger turning radius required to prevent or reduce tire wear and therefore need a larger space for movement. So the second one is tandem type. So main landing gear are located in line of the C of G, which is under the fuselage, and large wing is supported by outrigger wheels. So the third one is tricycle type, which is main landing gear are located off or behind C of G with nose wheel edge as the steering and auxiliary gear. So let me move to the landing gear wheel arrangement. There are three types of landing gear wheel arrangement, which is first, tail wheel or conventional type wheel. The second one is tandem type, and the third one is tricycle type. So let me show you tail wheel conventional type, and this one is tandem type, and this one is tricycle type. So let me explain to you what is tail wheel conventional type wheel. So first, main landing gear are located ahead of the C of G with tail wheel H as auxiliary landing gear. So number 2, steering the aircraft by means of tail wheels through the application of brake by rudder pedal known as differential brake. Third, extra pilot skill is required to land the aircraft, as aircraft tends ground loop and the C of G may swing ahead of main wheel, which may cause abrupt uncontrolled change in direction of aircraft in ground. So there are some advantages and disadvantages of tail conventional wheel arrangement. So the advantages of tail wheel arrangement is using a shorter runway path course, as the tail down attitude give a high drag after landing. So the disadvantages of tail conventional wheel arrangement: first, brake application must be delayed or monitored closely to avoid the tendency to nose to over, which is nose tail. And the second one, a pilot view is restricted when taxiing, and great care during taxiing is required. So the second one is tandem type. So tandem type is main landing gear are located in line of the C of G, which is under the fuselage, and large wing is supported by outrigger wheels. So the last one is tricycle type. Main landing gear are located aft or behind C of G with nose wheel H as the steering and auxiliary gear. So the advantages of tricycle wheel arrangement is it allows more forceful application of the brake for higher landing speed without nosing over. Second is permit better visibility for the pilot during landing and takeoff. Third, it tends to prevent aircraft ground looping by moving the aircraft C of G forward to main wheel forces acting of the C of G tend to keep the aircraft moving forward on a straight line rather than ground looping. Let's move to the next topic, which is landing gear main component. So there are 15 landing gear main components. So the first one is torque link or torque arm or torsion link. So the function of torque link is first, to maintain wheel and axle in a correct aligned position in relation to the struts, or misalignment corrected by adding or installing a spacer or shim of different thickness. The number 2 is to prevent ramp of a piston turning in the struts. Number 3, to restrict the extension of the piston during the extension of the strut. Number 2 is drag link, or other name drag strut. The function of drag link is to stabilizing the landing gear and support the aircraft structure longitudinally. The third one is side brace link, or the other name side strut. The function is to stabilizing the landing gear and support the aircraft laterally. The number 4 for landing gear main component is over center link or downlock struts or jury struts. So the function of over center link is to hold and drag link and the side brace in the down and lock position by applying pressure to the center pivot joint in the drag or side brace link. So it operates hydraulically by bungee cylinder or mechanically by bungee spring. So number 4 for landing gear main component is trunnion. So trunnion is supported at its end by bearing or bushing assembly, so which allow the gear to pivot during retraction and extension. So the struts from the cylinder for the oleo pneumatic shock absorber. So number 6 is shock struts. So shock struts is vertical member of the landing gear assembly that contain the shock absorbing mechanism. So number 7 is shimmy damper. So shimmy damper is hydraulic snubbing unit that reduce the tendency of the nose or tail wheel oscillate from side to the side. So number 8 for landing gear main component is actuator, or other name jack or actuating cylinder. So raise and lowering the landing gear may also use as a download mechanism for continuous application of pressure. So number 9 is uplock cylinder, or other name is uplock actuator. So the function is to the locking the cylinder gear in up and lock position. So number 10 is downlock cylinder, or other name is downlock actuator. So the function is to locking the gear in down and lock position. So the 11th landing gear main component is indicator. Micro switches, or other name ground safety switch or squad switch. So the function is providing cockpit indication with regard to the landing gear position, either up or lock, down and lock, or in transition are not locked. Number 12 is centering cam. So the function is aligning the nose wheel before retracted to up and back to its wheel well compartment. So number 13 is steering actuator. So the function of steering actuator is to allowing the pilot to control or steer the aircraft by means of analogy wheel assembly for taxiing. So 14 is landing gear door actuator. So the function of landing gear door actuator is to allowing the opening and closing of landing gear door for main and nose landing gear. So the last one is emergency lowering mechanism. The function is to providing the means of lowering down the gear in the event of normal extension system fails under FAR 23.729. So that's all from me. Thank you very much and Assalamualaikum.